Hey, good afternoon, people. Good afternoon. This is Mr. O once again, your favorite radio station host, favorite podcast, and welcome to the Amazing Show. As you well probably know right now, that Tuesdays I specifically call this Tuesday nights, KNIGHTS Tech. Now, when you hear that, that doesn't mean I come on at night. I could probably tune in on any time of that Tuesday I feel like it. And I chose this when I started doing the podcast like 2 months ago. I said I got to do something to reach out to people, to not just to the tech geeks and all that and stuff, but to basically regular consumers, people who have mobile electronics they use in their everyday life. Let's face it, this is the 21st century. This is specifically 2016. Everybody I know these days, from the young to the old, or male or female, doesn't matter race, has a smartphone, has a tablet, has a smart TV, home internet, things of the sort. And it makes our everyday routine, everyday lives a little bit more easier. And they use this to take care of of everyday routine duties that you need to make it more easier. So, like, it's my job to go ahead and bring y'all up to speed on what's the latest and what's the greatest. And with me, it's always going to be like with smartphones. Now, a lot of stuff has been coming out as of this month, but specifically today, it's supposed to be the day. Well, let's just get started. Specifically, today is the day. It's a big day in San Francisco. And no, I'm not talking about the Colin Kaepernick situation. And y'all know my stance on that. I stand behind Colin Kaepernick 10 million %. And that's to be the end of that. But it's a big day for LG as they supposedly unveiled the LG V20 today. Now, the article that I pulled up is basically from LG's newsroom. And I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to read it to you. And you probably see, like in the picture in the podcast in the lower right-hand corner, that it's a picture of the V20. And that's what it's supposed to look like. Now, this is from LG's newsroom. LG Electronics announced today that the LG V20 and its latest premium smartphone to be unveiled next week, which is today. It'll be the world's first phone to showcase Google's in-apps. The new search mode features in the Google app help users to find content not only from built-in apps, including contacts, emails, text messages, and photos, but also from the user-installed apps. In-apps also enable users to discover recently accessed apps, people to get in touch with, messages to read, or activity across apps without having to type a query. A shortcut to in-apps is featured on the home screen and the second screen of the V20, putting user contact, messages, and other apps content only one tap away. Second screen. Oh God, that second screen. Here we go again. Inset display above the main display of the V20 that works independently can be set as a dedicated launching area for shortcuts of the user's favorite apps, allowing them to launch in apps even while watching videos. In other words, this is their way of being a cheap knockoff of the Galaxy S, the Note Edge, the Galaxy S6 Edge, S6 Edge Plus, S7 Edge, and of course the Note 7, which I'm going to jump on later. I really should have started off with that, but I said let me just get this out the way first. Now, as smartphone features become increasingly diverse, a growing number of smartphone users are willing to search for more information saved on their mobile device. That is from Juno Cho, who's the president of LG Electronics and Mobile Communications Company. The V20s combined with Google evolving search tool will allow users to search for information they need faster in a more convenient and smart manner. Now, one thing definitely is for sure, the V20 is also going to be the first new device in the world that comes out with Android 7.0, which is Nougat operating system preloaded. But we can only time will tell. Now, the specs that's supposed to be. Now, I saw a picture of the V20, and I'm gonna tell you something. It's like the same thing of the G5. Now, as far as the butt plug situation, I don't know. I don't see nothing about that. But here's the specs what you're going to get from the LG V20. It's going to be a 5.7-inch Quad HD IPS. Oh, God, I don't know why they still using that. IPS LCD capacitive touchscreen. 16 million colors. The 5.7-inch, 72.4% screen-to-body ratio. I know that's not important. With the resolution, I said 2560 by 1440. Multi-touch. Protection to be confirmed. Secondary display, 160 by 1040. You know, the so-called edge. The camera is going to be 16 megapixel camera in the back. And secondary camera is going to be, front-facing camera is going to be like 5 megapixel, but I heard some other stories saying it's going to be 8 megapixel. This will be the CPU itself is a Snapdragon 820. Snapdragon 820 quad core with the GPU Adreno 530, micro SD card slot, memory slot. It's going to have an internal memory, 32 and 64 gig, internal storage and 4 gigs of RAM, as well as it's going to have the micro SD card slot, which is expandable all the way up to 256. Now, what I'm looking for is more important, you know, because it's basically the battery. The battery is going to be a 3200 milliamp battery, and it's going to be lithium ion, and it's going to be removable. Now, I know all the G Plus nerds are probably just soaking in their shorts right now. You know, at the same time, they want to laugh at Samsung, and I'm like, man, you know, I'm not even worried about that. Let me get to the other specs. The communication WAN is going to have 802.11 AB, GN, and AC, dual band Wi-Fi Direct, DLNA hotspot, Bluetooth version 4.2, A2DP, LE, and aptX. GPS, yes, with a GPS, GLONASS, NFC infrared port, yes, and it's gonna have USB Type C, which is sort of the thing. Fingerprint reader, accelerometer, gyro, proximity, compass, color spectrum. Let's see. The video that's going to be on it. The camera, like I said, it's going to be 16 megapixel with an aperture of f1.8, and it's a dual camera, a dual 16 megapixel camera. One that's going to have aperture at 1.8, and the second one, which is an 8 megapixel on the back, is going to have aperture of 2.4. Laser and phase detection. Oh, yeah, they're still sticking with the laser focus since the G4 or G3. And autofocus, optical image stabilization, dual LED flash. Like I said, the front-facing camera is going to be 5 megapixel with an aperture of f1.9. Yeah, and it's going to be have 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, Apple, and it's basically shaping up. Now, what I seen in the picture of it, and you probably looking at the picture at the bottom. To be honest with you, the V20 looks more on the front. It looks more like one of those new Blackberries that's out. Now, it's supposed to be announced today in San Francisco. Now, I don't have no information on whether you could watch it live. So if anybody know where you could watch it live, please comment in the below at broadcasting live here on YouTube, and put it in the comment section. Put the link in the comment section, and if people want to go watch it, because like I say, I'm interested in it and stuff like that. But now the question is about with the battery. It's 3200 removable battery. Is it going to be the same way like it is with the G5 with this modular crap they've been pushing? But we just gonna have to wait and see. Now it's supposed to be released. It's available today, but as far as it being released, it may be by the end of this month. We don't know. I haven't gotten no more information on about that with LG, but I will keep y'all posted and find out about it. But get this will be the first Android phone to come out to run new version of Android 7.0, which is Nougat. So that really kind of see like this. So we just gonna have to wait to see what they gonna come up with. We all know they trying to one up their big brother, so this is their little chance to go ahead to shine and stuff. So we will see. Let's move on to next things. Let's move on from we leave the land of South Korea for a moment, and we head over to California, to Cupertino, in the land of Apple. Now, as y'all all know, today is September 6th, but tomorrow is September 7th. September 7th, Apple will unveil the iPhone 7 now and the 7 Plus. Now, for those who would looking for big changes for the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus, y'all gonna have to wait till next year for that. You know, I'm just telling y'all right now, y'all gonna have to wait till next year. Ain't gonna be no changes on this. But one thing that has come out, I explained in my last podcast about the leaked specs of the iPhone 7, 7 Plus. I'm not really going to go on there. But one thing that has come out, and this is from independent newspaper there in the UK, and they mentioned that Apple is to unveil new wireless Beats alongside phone without the headphone jack. Leaked emails suggested. Oh boy. Seems like Hillary Clinton got the only person got issues with leaked emails. And it's a lot of things that come to pass is true, even when I talk to some people on the street. Here you go. Apple might have accidentally revealed that new Beats headphones are going to be launched alongside the iPhone 7, which explains the reason why Dr. Dre sold them to Apple and he got a cool $1 billion for them. I figured that. The apparent leak is given the extra importance because of the fact that wireless headphones of the kind Beats make are going to be central to the new iPhone. All rumors suggest that Apple is getting rid of traditional headphone jack. Here we go. That meaning that either users will either have to plug themselves into the lightning port or on the bottom of the phone, or just use Bluetooth technology. Now, I'm going to stop there. I know that kind of sets off a lot of diehard iPhone fans. Now, it isn't clear whether the new headphones will be Bluetooth, as most of Beats products already are, or whether they will also be introducing new headphones built for the lightning port. That's still up in the air. Now, it's also not clear whether that they will be the sometime rumored AirPod headphones that have been rumored to be launching alongside the iPhone. Now, Apple has said to be making those itself, but it may be leaning on Beats, which they bought in 2014 for its previous work in wireless headphones. The new leaks came from an email that was apparently sent out by Beats' PR team to French-speaking journalists. It consisted of an invite to the September 7th event, which is tomorrow, but also made reference to Beats products that haven't been mentioned here. The subject line of the apparent message reads, Apple Keynote, as one might expect. But then it goes on, discover new products from Beats by Dre. and it said that in French. Now, the body of the email then tells people who love technology to tune into an event that can't be missed. That's in part because there'll be a selection of new products from Beats by Dre that will be revealed at the event, it says. The email then includes the same invitation that was sent out to press leaks, the press last week, inviting them to the event on the 7th of September. Now, this ain't no surprise. We already talked about like the specs of the iPhone 7 and the 7 Plus, but just for those who missed, I'm gonna run it by you again. iPhone 7 is going to have a 4.7-inch IPS LCD display. It's going to have 2 gigs of RAM. I don't know if they're gonna still be stuck on that stupid 16 gig of memory of storage or whatnot, but I think they're gonna do 32 or 64. I'm not exactly sure, so don't quote me on that. 32, 64, 16, 64, and 128. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But one thing that does get me is the fact that now it's say much improved water and dust resistant, which I still laugh at, because how it's gonna be water and dust resistant and it doesn't have the IP67 or IP68 certification? That's just stupid. Okay, but now the iPhone 7 Plus, the camera on the iPhone 7 is going to be 12 megapixel, no doubt. Flash with a f1.9 aperture so far, and it's got the battery. It's going to have Apple has the A10 processor in there, all going to be powered by a 1920 milliamp battery. Now the 7 Plus is going to have dual cameras, as well as going to have optical image stabilization. Probably the same specs as that, but it's not going to be water resistant like the iPhone 7. You know. And the battery, I think, is going to be 2910. 2910 milliamp battery on the iPhone 7 Plus. And it's going to come in 4 different colors, one of which is going to be like a matte blue or blue coral type finish, as you've seen in my last podcast. I got a picture of that thing, of it up there, where it might be synonymous to the blue coral that's on the Galaxy Note 5, which I'm going to jump on in a bit too, because I'm really itching to get to talk about this. But the phone will be unveiled, and you can probably catch it live on Apple Station or whatever like that, Wednesday, which is tomorrow. But the phone itself will be available at the Apple stores nationwide, maybe worldwide, I don't know why, on September 16th. And yes, yours truly, Mr. O, I will be broadcasting live from the Apple store in Miami Beach on Lincoln Road. Because the reason I say that, I get a kick out of seeing the irony of these people lined up, actually literally camped out for 3 or 4 days in front of an Apple store just to get a phone that hasn't really changed much in over a decade. But Apple themselves have been slumping as of late, losing stock shares, stuff like that. Oh, and on top of that, I also got some information too about, do not be surprised that the new Apple Watch is going to be launched alongside the iPhone 7. Yes, Apple Watch 2. And you're going to love this new wearable to have a bigger battery, smaller body. I'm going to let y'all ponder that one. And by the way, if my Samsung Knights, if they listening, I'm going to let y'all ponder that one. Let me just get down and read this thing to you. Apple is about to release the second Apple Watch with a bigger battery and smaller body. The new watch isn't set to bring many new features, and instead it'll be more of a refinement of the existing watch than a whole redesign of the phone. Well, I guess they meant the watch. God, they get these typos mixed up. But it will fix some of the biggest complaints that people had about the existing model, that it's too big and the battery dies too quickly. Now, various reports have said that the battery life will receive a huge upgrade. One rumor suggests that the second version of the watch will see a 35% battery boost. An electronics shop that claimed they have got hold of the watch says the capacity has been increased to 1.28 WH from 0.98 WH. Now, it's not clear whether that extra capacity will actually lead to a longer battery life. The new version of the watch will operate with operating system, which is expected to come out at the same time as the hardware, borrows more computing power from the watch, and so might use up more battery, meaning that the extra battery could actually keep the same time between charges rather than adding extra battery life. The same report came from Byte, which claims to have seen leaked components, also said that the new watch will have a noticeably thinner panel than the existing watch. The display itself is unchanged, but being less deep, the watch could be smaller and flatter on the arm, the report said. Now, in all, the Apple Watch has seen far fewer leaks than the iPhone 7, and that'll be introduced alongside. It's reported that it will focus far more on health than other features, and that some long-rumored additions, including technology to allow it to work independently of the phone, might actually be left out of the model revealed next week. Okay, that's no surprise right there. I mean, to me, and then here's something else that's new too. You look at the picture in the middle left-handed corner of the picture of my podcast. That's a picture of Apple CEO Tim Cook, who y'all know took over Steve Jobs after Jobs passed away, and Jobs appointed him as the heir apparent. That's supposed to be the new Apple Watch right there. And may not be the new one, but that's new bands that's going to come with it. Be it like a nylon watch straps. Notice they got the pink one. I ain't saying no more on it. So, I mean, I got a few of my friends that got the Apple Watch, and even they done said the same thing. I mean, I got the Gear S, which is in a box, and family's going to get that. And I got both of the Gear S2s, the active and the classic, and the battery lasts longer on those. But here's the thing. They're making it noticeably smaller and the battery bigger. But this is what I get from a lot of my associates and friends who have an iPhone, and then they have the Apple Watch. And this is where they envy me for my Gears too. It's doesn't have standalone capabilities. What's the sense of bringing out new features on that if you don't have the standalone capabilities? But I believe Apple doesn't have what do you call it, a patent or something like that, or copyright to either get it or not. But that's still ridiculous, you know. I've seen other smartwatches perform better than this, but since it's Apple, you know, people gonna go ahead and get it anyway. Because I've said this a long time. I said this for the past 3 years about with Apple. Apple, like Google, they do not make hardware whatsoever. You know, software, they have their name on it. But they have other people doing this stuff, and they just put their little stamp of approval on there and then market it like, you know, they've been hard at work doing this and doing that. No. This is what sets Samsung apart from these guys. You know, and from other OEMs. You know, for the Apple Watch, like, I'm just shaking my head right now because standalone connectivity is what people been wanting for with the Apple Watch. I've enjoyed that with my Gear S, with my Gear S Active, and my Gear Gear S and Gear S2 Active, and my Gear S2 Classic, which I'm wearing right now. And I will be enjoying it once the Gear S3 drops. But speaking of the Gear S3, and speaking of Samsung as a whole, let's just get right down to it, and I'm going to say the best for last. Okay, everybody in the world, everybody on the news already, and I even had people, friends of mine, even come to me because they know I'm a diehard Samsung guy. I am one of the founders of the Samsung Knights and one of the three kings, and I'm not afraid to mention that. Not afraid to mention it, and I'm proud of that. When it comes down to, I dubbed her the Winter Queen, the Note 7. Samsung has recently did a major recall on the Note 7 because of the battery explosions that was happening. Now, the lowdown on this is like this. There's only like 35 cases reported of a few of them that exploded in one batch. So they had to return all, 2.5 million, recall 2.5 million of them and so forth. But here's the thing. Even when I went through all the social media, all the social sites, Facebook, Google+, Twitter, everywhere, and say what they want to say. That people on here that's hating on Samsung and doing all this, these sort of things can happen to anybody. Just not with mobile tech, but it can do in the automotive industry, it can do in the television industry, whatever. But it's real petty of some of these quote unquote fuck boys to go ahead and throw little shots at a company just to see it fail, and the recent success Samsung has had since the Galaxy S2. And as of this year, how they supplanted Apple in sales. But at the same time, those are just a chosen few. But the majority of the people get a hat tip, and they giving big respects, major respects to Samsung for stepping up to the plate and going ahead and resolving this problem, which I know they was already going to do. Because one thing Samsung don't do, they do not back down from a fight or a challenge. I likes that. And it also shows too, let me just educate the ignorant on something. It also shows their dedication and devotion to doing what's right and doing right by their customers and subscribers, as well as by the U.S. carriers. Because let's just face it, the Note 7, the Note line in particular, the biggest market Samsung know where they hit at is here in the United States. Because let's face it, everybody loved the Note. Ever since it came out in 2011. Yeah, people laughed at it. But up until last year, the Galaxy Note 5, which I have, is America's favorite phone. Buy down and deal with it. I mean, you see the Notes everywhere. You see them in the boardrooms. You see them in the hospitals. You see them in the police stations, at banks, and most in the business circle, and with regular consumers too. So I'm saying like that. So, all it's going to do is a battery issue, a couple of cells ain't working. So Samsung already did the investigating, and it came down to that. So they're checking with their distributor of the batteries for it, and they're going to resolve it. Everything going to take care of itself, because let's just face it, the overall synopsis of this, as well as me and the other kings were talking, as well as some of the other moderators were talking, we've already said that, it's not that serious. So that's the reason why I just sit back and I read these comments and I laugh. I've seen some of the memes where one guy bought his Note 7 and charged it up, put it on the nightstand, and then he had like a fire extinguisher next to the nightstand. I really find that funny. And then I just saw a recent meme of one where two Army veterans was in the heat of battle, and the meme said Sergeant or something like that. We ran out of grenades. We don't know what else do we got. Sergeant, the CEO was telling him, use your Note 7. And then you see this bottom picture of him getting ready to throw the Note 7, and he's saying fire in the hole. I mean, even I found that funny. But at the same time, it's kind of rather disgusting. And then on top of that, you also got a few people, some of these so-called, let me just call, some of these so-called tech reviewers, thinking that they saying all this stuff about the Note 7, but really ain't spend the time with it, which I would say about 2 weeks with the phone, or even less than a month, or either almost a month with it, because there's a lot of features on that phone that we don't know about. But here's the thing: a lot of people I know that's got the Note 7. They say they ain't got no problems with it. They ain't had no exploding battery issues and all that. But the U.S. carriers, I'm just let you know, with this fiasco that's happening, whoever your carrier is, they are offering exchange programs. T-Mobile was one of the first to step to the plate with theirs. Then Verizon, then AT&T. I don't know the synopsis on that with Sprint, because a lot of stuff they do is so damn confusing. But you can go to your carrier's website, and they got the details right there. And I know the exchange could either be for maybe a S7 Edge, or maybe like a refurbished phone or something like that. But I also say, and this is my personal opinion, this my personal fact, whether you want or not, if you got the Note 7 and ain't nothing wrong with it, and it's running smoother than a silkworm, what's the sense you going there and exchanging it for? Or if you feel something inside is faulty, or you feeling you ain't getting the battery performance out there, yeah, I did not say, yeah, go trade it in. But if you feel like you good. Okay, cool, no problem. Because the end result, and here's something that just came out of Euro News today concerning Samsung. Despite the, Samsung is expected to take a hit with their recall. They may lose like over $1 billion. But as of this morning, when I got the hit from Euro News, that despite the Note 7 recalls, Samsung's still rising up in the stock market, even right now. This is what happens when you piss off a titan. And to the haters, the trolls, and these old sometimey bargain basement tech bloggers or whatever, tech reviewers that be on YouTube or whatever like that, just to go ahead to get your subscriber volume up, you best better take notice of that. And there's some of them out there that be around here faking the funk, but they not really all in. One thing about with the Samsung Nights not only dedicated to supporting Samsung products, but we dedicated to supporting Samsung products, not just Samsung, the tech as a whole. And we also here to educate the feeble-minded, the narrow-minded ones and all that. We've taken our share of attacks. We've taken our share of shots. But the thing about with that, though, that's just from idiots that don't know no better, ain't trying to know no better, and don't want to know no better. And those same jokers are jumping from one OEM to another, being nothing but fence straddlers. They're like Taylor Swift. They're jumping from one cock to the next. One day it's LG. Now, when LG faltered, they're going to jump over to HTC. Now, HTC have faltered. Now, they jump back over to LG. Some have jumped over to Motorola. Some jumped over to Sony. Some jumped over to Huawei. Exomini. But let's just face it. And I think one of my fellow brethren has said in a public post, that Samsung had less problems with this battery or something like that than any of you OEMs made, and more money with the battery issue than you OEMs ever made in a month. And that's true. That's a natural fact. And see, basically, I like Samsung's perseverance and their laser-focused strategy. They know about what's going on around here. Hell, they're probably listening to this podcast right now of me bigging them up. You know what I'm saying? but they not even pertaining to the other one. They concerned about what's things going on in their house. And trust me, people, the real Note fans, real Samsung fans, when they do the redistribution of the Note 7, trust me, it's going to be better than ever, performance-wise, battery-wise. It's just with the battery. It's nothing wrong with the process, with the CPU. It's nothing wrong with the GPU. It's nothing wrong with the phone overall as a whole. It was just a couple of battery cells. That's it. Okay? And then on top of that, I also fought some ignorant people too. Like, who goes here, how you going to go here and charge your phone with 100% brightness in the sun, plugged up in the sun? Yeah, and then, not only they charge up 100%, they go take it home and then go ahead and charge it up some more. Of course the battery is going to explode. Some people leave it charged overnight. I mean, after it be like 100%, what you need to do is this. When you get home, if you got home internet, if you got home Wi-Fi, put your phone on airplane mode. Switch it. You need to make a call, switch it over to Wi-Fi if you have Wi-Fi calling. And then charge your phone like that overnight. Charge your phone. When you sit on the wireless charger or plug it up, however you charge it, get to 100%, just take it off. In airplane mode, that saves you a lot of battery time. That helps. Or as in fellow Samsung Knight and also an editor for Sam Mobile, Deidre Richardson, as she say, the Note 7 has 3 versions or 3-part of the power saving mode. Use that middle power saving mode and then scale down the resolution on your Note 7 from that 2K down to at least maybe 1080p or 720, and you'll see your battery performance increase dramatically. Not just increase dramatically, but your battery will last a lot longer. You'll probably get like close to maybe 15, close to 20 hours uptime, and maybe in screen on time, perhaps maybe be about close to 6, maybe, or break to 7. I don't have a Note 7 yet, so I don't, but from what I'm seeing, go there. You don't believe me? Go to Sam Mobile, look up Deidre Richardson's article on the Note 7, and it was the best read I've ever read. I mean, I liked this, I've loved it so much, I saved that sucker, cropped it, and threw it in my scrapbook. So when I need to go read it again, I could go read it again and go back on my notes. No pun intended. But other than that, despite this fiasco, it's a great phone. It's a beautiful phone. It's an awesome phone. I mean, ever since their inception in 2011, the Note has been the boss, no doubt. The S line have stepped up this year, but the Note line, yeah, never seems to fail me. Just this one little setback, that's nothing. And it doesn't faze me. It doesn't deter me from going ahead and getting my Note 7. I'm not saying that because I'm a Samsung Knight. No, I'm saying it because I love Samsung and I love what Samsung stand for, and I love the fact Samsung stand behind their products. That'd have been Apple. Apple would have just said, "Oh, that's on you." If you mess up your iPhone. I don't see none of the other OEMs doing that. Only Samsung doing that. So my hat tip goes off to them. And it was a smart business decision. So idiots better up here crying and whining. They need to go ahead and stop whining like little babies. Now, on that note, to get the Note 7 fiasco out the way, I'm going to give you some good news right now of another device I'm also looking forward to get when it drops in October, and that's the Gear S3. Apple, you listening? This is a smartwatch. This is what a smartwatch looks like. I don't have a picture of it, but I'm going to do a part 2. I'm going to come back and I'm going to do a part 2 on that, on the Gear S3, so y'all can see exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to this. All right, let me go ahead and sign. I'm going to do a part 2 on this real quick.